My friends and fellow Phillies faithful, buckle up because the MLB offseason just went from simmer to full boil, and the Philadelphia Phillies are right in the center of what could be the most franchise-altering move of 2026. We're not talking about minor roster adjustments or depth signings here. We're talking about a seismic shift that could completely redefine this team's championship aspirations, and it all hinges on one name that's been whispered in front offices across baseball: Alex Bregman. That's right, the two-time World Series champion, the three-time All-Star, the clutch playoff performer who's been a thorn in the side of every American League team for nearly a decade, could be wearing Phillies red next season. But here's the twist that makes this story absolutely explosive. The key to unlocking this potential blockbuster isn't just about money or contract negotiations. It's about Alec Bohm, our current third baseman, and whether Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies front office are willing to make the tough call that could define this franchise's trajectory for the next half-decade. Bob Nightingale, one of the most plugged-in and respected voices in baseball journalism, dropped an absolute bombshell during his recent appearance on Foul Territory that sent shockwaves through Phillies Nation. Nightingale didn't dance around the subject or hedge his words with typical analyst speak. He was crystal clear, stating he could perfectly envision the Phillies moving Bohm. And if that happens, the organization would jump all over Bregman with everything they've got. When someone with Nightingale's credentials and inside connections makes a statement like that, you better believe there's real substance behind it. This isn't idle speculation or clickbait nonsense. This is genuine intel from someone who knows how front offices think and operate. So let's break down this powder keg of a situation piece by piece, because understanding the complete picture is essential for every Phillies fan who wants to know where this franchise is headed. Right now, if the season started tomorrow, Alec Bohm would be our starting third baseman without question. The guy earned that spot fair and square. He was an all-star in 2024, showing flashes of the offensive potential that made him a first-round draft pick back in 2018. At 29 years old, he's theoretically entering his prime years as a player. In 2025, he posted respectable numbers with a .287 batting average, a .740 OPS, 11 home runs, and 59 RBIs across 120 games. Those aren't embarrassing statistics by any stretch. In fact, they're the kind of numbers that plenty of teams would be happy to have from their third baseman. But here's where the situation gets complicated, and this is the detail that Dave Dombrowski is losing sleep over. Bohm only has one more season of team control remaining with the Phillies. One season, that's it. After 2026, he becomes a free agent and can sign with any team willing to meet his asking price. This creates a pressure cooker scenario for the front office because they essentially have three options, and each one comes with significant risks and rewards. Option one is they keep Bohm for 2026, hope he has a monster season, watch him walk in free agency, and receive nothing but a compensatory draft pick in return. That's the nightmare scenario that no competitive organization wants to face. You're essentially getting 1 year of production and then watching an asset walk out the door with nothing tangible to show for it. Option two is they negotiate a contract extension with Bohm right now, locking him up for multiple years and betting that his 2024 All-Star appearance was the beginning of sustained excellence rather than a career outlier. That's a gamble, and we'll get into why in just a moment. Option three, the nuclear option that Nightingale alluded to, is trading Bohm now while he still has a full season of team control remaining, maximizing his trade value, and using the financial flexibility to pursue a proven star like Alex Bregman. Now let's address the elephant in the room regarding Alec Bohm. I'm not here to trash the guy. He's shown talent, he's been a professional, and that all-star nod in 2024 wasn't given out as a participation trophy. But if we're being brutally honest, and that's what this channel is all about, Bohm's career has been defined by inconsistency. For every stretch where he looks like a cornerstone piece, there's been an equal stretch where his bat goes completely silent and defensive questions resurface. Baseball is a game of sustained excellence, especially when you're trying to compete for championships, and that's where the doubts about Bohm start to creep in. The 2025 postseason perfectly encapsulated the concerns about Bohm's ability to perform when the stakes are highest. In the National League Division Series, Bohm was practically invisible at the plate in 3 of the 4 games. We're talking about disappearing acts in the moments when championship dreams are made or broken. When you're paying a player significant money and counting on him to be a core piece of your lineup, you need him to show up in October. You need him to be the guy who delivers the clutch hit in Game 3 when your season is on the line. Unfortunately, that hasn't been Bohm's track record, and playoff performance matters exponentially more than regular season statistics when you're evaluating what a player is truly worth. This brings us to the million-dollar question, or more accurately, the multi-million-dollar question. Do the Phillies want to commit significant long-term money to Alec Bohm, a player who's shown flashes of brilliance, but also concerning stretches of mediocrity? Or would that money be better invested in a battle-tested championship pedigree veteran like Alex Bregman? When you frame the question that way, the answer starts to become clearer, doesn't it? Let's talk about what Alex Bregman actually brings to the table, because this isn't just about swapping one third baseman for another. This is about upgrading to a completely different tier of player. Bregman spent 9 seasons with the Houston Astros, and during that time, he wasn't just along for the ride. He was a central figure in building one of the most dominant dynasties in recent baseball history. 2 World Series championships in 2017 and 2022, 3 All-Star selections, a Gold Glove Award in 2024, proving he's not just a bat-first player, but a complete defensive talent. A Silver Slugger Award in 2019, recognizing him as one of the best offensive third basemen in the game. These aren't fluky achievements. This is a resume built on sustained excellence over nearly a decade. In 2025, Bregman signed with the Boston Red Sox and continued producing at an elite level despite missing 7 weeks due to a quadriceps injury. He hit .273 with an OPS of .822, clubbed 18 home runs, and drove in 62 runs in just 114 games. Think about that for a second. He missed almost 2 months and still earned his 3rd All-Star selection. That's the kind of consistency and high-level production that separates good players from elite players. When Bregman is on the field, you know exactly what you're getting. There are no mystery months where he hits 185 and you're wondering if something's broken. He's steady, reliable, and most importantly, proven. But statistics only tell part of the story with Bregman. What truly separates him from players like Bohm is his playoff pedigree. Bregman has 36 career playoff RBIs, which is the 3rd highest total among third basemen in Major League Baseball history. Let that sink in. 3rd highest in history. This is a player who has been there, done that, and has the championship rings to prove it. When the pressure is cranked up to maximum, when every pitch feels like it carries the weight of an entire season, Bregman thrives. That's not hyperbole. That's documented fact. He's delivered in elimination games. He's come through in winner-take-all scenarios. He knows what it takes to win when everything is on the line. And that kind of experience and mentality is something you simply cannot teach or replicate. For a Phillies team that has been knocking on the door of a championship but hasn't been able to break through, adding someone with Bregman's winning DNA could be the difference maker. The Phillies have the talent. They have Bryce Harper in his prime delivering MVP caliber performances. They have Zach Wheeler anchoring one of the best rotations in baseball. They have young talent throughout the roster ready to contribute. But what they've lacked in recent postseason runs is that veteran presence who's been there before, who doesn't get rattled when October baseball turns into a pressure cooker. Bregman is that guy. He's the player who can stabilize a lineup and provide leadership in the moments when games and series are decided. Now, acquiring Bregman isn't going to be simple, and that's where the Bohm trade becomes absolutely critical. Bregman opted out of his contract with the Boston Red Sox in November 2025, walking away from 2 years and $80 million to test the free agent market again. That decision tells you everything you need to know about his confidence in his own value and his desire to secure a long-term deal that reflects his status as one of baseball's premier players. When a guy walks away from $80 million guaranteed dollars, he's betting on himself in a major way, and multiple teams are going to come calling with competitive offers. The competition for Bregman's services is going to be fierce. The Boston Red Sox, having already had him for a season, might make a strong push to bring him back, especially if they believe he's the missing piece for their own championship aspirations. The Chicago Cubs have been mentioned as a potential landing spot, and with their deep pockets and desire to build a contender, they could get aggressive in bidding. The Arizona Diamondbacks recently emerged as a dark horse candidate, and their young, talented roster might be appealing to a veteran looking to win now. This isn't going to be a situation where the Phillies can lowball an offer and expect Bregman to accept. If they want him, they're going to need to be serious about the financial commitment, and that's where moving Bohm becomes essential. Trading Bohm accomplishes two critical things for the Phillies. First, it frees up immediate payroll space that can be redirected toward Bregman's contract. Even though Bohm is still in his arbitration years, every dollar matters when you're trying to construct a competitive offer for a top-tier free agent. Second, and perhaps more importantly, it signals to Bregman and his representatives that the Phillies are all in. When you trade your current starting third baseman to clear the position for a free agent, you're making a statement. You're telling that free agent, you are our guy. We are committed to you. We want you to be the cornerstone of our infield for the next 5 to 7 years. That kind of commitment matters in negotiations. It shows you're serious, not just kicking tires or using the player as leverage in other discussions. The Phillies front office, led by Dave Dombrowski, has shown they're willing to make bold moves when they believe it improves the team. The recent signing of Brad Keller to a 2-year, $22 million contract demonstrated their commitment to strengthening the roster. Keller is coming off an outstanding season with the Chicago Cubs, posting a 2.07 ERA across 68 relief appearances. That's elite bullpen production, and the Phillies identified a need and aggressively filled it. If they approach the third base situation with the same mentality and decisiveness, we could be witnessing a transformative moment for this franchise. Dombrowski isn't the type of executive who makes moves just to generate headlines or appease impatient fans. He's methodical, strategic, and always thinking multiple steps ahead. His track record speaks for itself. He's built championship teams in multiple cities, and he knows what it takes to put together a roster capable of winning in October. If he decides that trading Bohm and pursuing Bregman is the right move, you can bet he's done his homework. He's evaluated the risk versus reward. He's projected what Bohm might fetch in a trade. He's calculated what it would take to land Bregman. And most importantly, he's determined that this move significantly increases the Phillies' chances of winning a World Series. Of course, it's important to emphasize that as of right now, this is still speculation based on credible reporting from Bob Nightingale. Nothing has been officially announced. Alec Bohm remains the projected starting third baseman for the 2026 Philadelphia Phillies until circumstances change. But in today's MLB landscape, things can shift rapidly. Free agent markets move quickly. Trade opportunities emerge and disappear in a matter of hours. Front offices are constantly evaluating their options, running simulations, and making contingency plans. Just because nothing has happened yet doesn't mean nothing will happen. The window of championship competitiveness is open right now for the Philadelphia Phillies, and that window won't stay open forever. Bryce Harper is 33 years old and playing at an elite level, but Father Time is undefeated, and eventually even the best players decline. Zach Wheeler is 35 and still dominant, but how many more prime years does he have left? The talent on this roster is championship caliber right now, in this moment. Waiting and hoping things work out without making aggressive moves to improve is how franchises watch their windows slam shut. This is the time to be bold. This is the time to make the moves that push you from playoff contender to World Series favorite. If the Phillies don't act decisively, they risk watching Alex Bregman sign elsewhere while Alec Bohm plays out his final year of team control and then walks in free agency. That's the worst-case scenario. That's how you end up with neither player and a gaping hole at third base heading into 2027. Smart organizations don't let that happen. Smart organizations identify upgrades when they're available and pull the trigger, even if it means making difficult decisions about current roster pieces. The comparison between keeping Bohm and acquiring Bregman really comes down to this fundamental question. Do you want potential or proven production? Bohm represents the former. He's got talent, he's shown flashes, and there's an argument that his best years could still be ahead of him. But that's a projection, a hope, a bet that everything clicks, and he becomes the consistent all-star caliber player the Phillies thought they were drafting. Bregman represents the latter. He's already done it. He's already been the all-star, the champion, the clutch playoff performer. There's no projection necessary. You know exactly what you're getting, and what you're getting is a significant upgrade over Bohm in virtually every meaningful category, especially the one that matters most, winning championships. The financial commitment to Bregman will be substantial. Reports suggest he's seeking a contract in the neighborhood of $150 to $180 million over 5 to 6 years. That's a significant investment, but it's also the going rate for elite position players in today's market. When you compare that to the uncertainty of extending Bohm, who would likely command something in the $75 to $100 million range for a similar term based on comparables, the additional money for Bregman represents a worthwhile premium for the upgraded production and championship pedigree. From a pure baseball operations standpoint, the logic of moving Bohm to pursue Bregman is sound. You're trading away a player with 1 year of team control remaining who's been inconsistent and disappeared in the playoffs for a chance to sign a proven champion who elevates his game when it matters most. You're swapping question marks for certainty. You're exchanging hope for proven results. In a sport where championships are incredibly difficult to win and championship windows close faster than anyone expects, making that kind of upgrade should be an easy decision. The emotional side of this potential transaction is more complicated, of course. Alec Bohm has been with the Phillies organization since they drafted him 3rd overall in 2018. He's come through the system, dealt with the pressure of being a high draft pick, and had some genuinely excellent stretches in a Phillies uniform. There are fans who have invested emotionally in his development and want to see him succeed in Philadelphia. Trading him, especially after an all-star season, might feel premature or unnecessarily harsh to some, but championship organizations have to make tough decisions based on what gives them the best chance to win, not on sentimentality or hoping a player finally puts it all together. The harsh reality is that Bohm has had plenty of opportunities to establish himself as an elite, consistent performer, and he hasn't quite gotten there. At some point, you have to evaluate whether continuing to wait for that breakthrough is the best use of resources and roster spots. The broader context of the National League East also factors into this decision. The Atlanta Braves remain a formidable opponent with a young, talented core. The New York Mets have shown they're willing to spend astronomical sums to build a winner. Even the Washington Nationals are rebuilding with promising young talent. The division is competitive, and standing still while other teams improve is a recipe for falling behind. If the Phillies have an opportunity to add a player of Bregman's caliber, they need to seriously consider it, because you can bet their division rivals are looking for every possible way to get better. So where does all of this leave us as Phillies fans eagerly watching this offseason unfold? We're in a fascinating position where legitimate insider reporting suggests the front office is seriously considering a major roster shakeup that could define the next several years of Phillies baseball. The Alec Bohm trade and Alex Bregman pursuit isn't just idle rumor mill fodder. This is real, credible information from respected baseball journalists who have track records of being right about these things. The fact that Bob Nightingale specifically mentioned he could envision this scenario playing out means there have likely been internal discussions within the organization about exactly this possibility. The coming weeks and months will be absolutely critical. Free agency moves quickly, and if the Phillies are serious about landing Bregman, they'll need to move decisively. That means having preliminary trade discussions about Bohm to gauge his market value and potential return. It means preparing a competitive contract offer for Bregman that accounts for what other suitors might offer. It means Dave Dombrowski in the front office doing what they do best, evaluating talent, assessing value, and making bold decisions when the opportunity presents itself. For Phillies Nation, this is exactly the kind of aggressive win-now mentality we should want from our front office. We're not a rebuilding team hoping to compete in 3 or 4 years. We're a win-now team with championship aspirations and a roster built to compete immediately. Making a move like trading Bohm to land Bregman fits perfectly with that philosophy. It's a signal that the organization isn't satisfied with just making the playoffs or winning a division title. They want to win the World Series, and they're willing to make the tough decisions necessary to give themselves the best possible chance. As this situation continues to develop, one thing is certain. Phillies fans are in for one of the most interesting and potentially franchise-altering off-seasons in recent memory. Whether it's Bohm or Bregman manning third base when opening day arrives, could very well determine whether 2026 is another frustrating near miss or the year everything finally comes together and the championship parade rolls down Broad Street. This is Phillies Fan Central, where we break down the biggest stories, dive deep into the analysis that matters, and give you the unfiltered truth about your Philadelphia Phillies. What do you think about this potential blockbuster? Should Dave Dombrowski pull the trigger on trading Alec Bohm to clear the path for Alex Bregman? Or would you rather keep Bohm and hope his development continues on an upward trajectory? Drop your thoughts in the comments section right now, because this is where real Phillies fans come together to debate, discuss, and dissect every angle of the decisions that will shape our team's future. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you never miss crucial Phillies news and analysis. And hit that notification bell so you're always first to know when we drop new content. This is the home for passionate, knowledgeable Phillies fans who demand substance, insight, and straight talk about their team. Until next time, keep the faith, trust the process, and let's bring that championship back
Hey
to
everyone,
Philadelphia.
I'm working
where
to
it
hit
belongs.
1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.